Okay, we are live. Hope the lighting's not too harsh here. It's really bright, but I have the blinds closed. But if I open up the blinds, I'll just be... change my color there for a sec. So we'll let people show up here. All right. People are starting to show up. Hello, hello. Liz can too. I know, sorry, the game's on, but this is the time to get the people in Europe still able to see it as well. Very cool. Yeah. We'll take a minute, just say where everybody's from. Roseburg, Oregon, Waynesboro, Virginia, Lydia Badillo. Great. Oh, all right. People are showing up. So first, we're going to cover a couple things here. And, I try to get to everybody's questions, but when I'm talking and I try to look, I definitely need a moderator, but we're not there yet. But all right, man, everywhere. Louisiana, Compton. All right. Kina B. Very cool. We're going to, let me see, message. We got a lot coming up. Dealing with some stuff today with the video dissections. So I'm back and forth. On Friday, the people for my software are not available on the weekends. So I did everything they said I should do, and it still didn't work. So I just got the software 2 weeks ago. It worked the first time. We had a great time. And then for some reason, it keeps kicking me off YouTube. So they're going to look into it tomorrow. I sent them all the schematics and everything, and we'll see what's going on. So it's still coming, guys. Don't worry. We're going to get there. It was frustrating, though. I literally downloaded it 6 times. I took it off. I re-uploaded it. I tried to make it work. I went from all these different angles, and it still wouldn't work. So we'll get there. But I'm doing a PopTalk today, which is also fun. I think you guys are going to like, and it's about an important topic that I see a lot. I try to get to the questions as they come up. Live or super chat is always activated. If you really want to ask something, I always appreciate that. Contributing to the channel as well. But that does tag your question. It puts it bright in color, and it goes to the top and stays there until I answer it. So for those who want that, you can do that also. So a lot of Texans, that's so true, that are here. I love it. Say happy birthday, Paul. There you go. Happy birthday, Paul. And thanks for joining in. Mississippi, good one, Susan. Texas Panhandle, Fair Maiden White. So we got Ohio. There's a lot of Ohio. I'm from there originally. Still have a lot of family back there. But let's talk about today something I see all the time. Telogen Effluvium is the name of it. And it's hair loss. And it's a common thing. You can have it in men, but it does happen in females most of the time. And I almost see it every day. And we're going to do a little breakdown on it. And then we'll go to, so I'm just going to talk about it a little bit. And then we're going to go to questions. If people have questions, I'll kind of go there. Unless they do a super chat, then I'll take a break and answer that because it pops up. It's been a heck of a day. I've been trying to make this work all day. Not only that, good question. I'm going to get to that. How's my son's thumb? Very cool video. He's doing great. And he is like come alive again. For like 3 or 4 days, he wasn't real active. He was holding his hand like this. I felt so bad for him. He wouldn't let us get close to it for the first 2 days. And then swelling went down a little bit. And then I had to talk to him and be like, hey, buddy, I can help you. So we're going to do, and he's young, and it was very, very painful. And he was, letting us kind of talk to him, and then he was open to it. The night before, I think he bumped it in his sleep or something, and he actually threw up. He's not sick or anything, but that does happen with severe, severe pain. So some people have that, especially little kids, if it's bad enough. I just felt for him, man. I've done that before when I was younger, and it was one of the most painful things ever. So but yeah, he did great. That was, and that was a video that a lot of people watched. It was kind of a last minute thing. My mom was here. I was like, Mom, can you record this? We'll just do this. I'm pretty sure it's gonna pop. If it doesn't, we won't share it. And boom, it popped. So, and you see, he didn't move. He didn't jump at all. There's fluid underneath the nail. You're not going to feel. That thing pokes through, and there's a little fluid pocket. So as long as you don't push too hard, and if you hit that nail bed, he would have done a backflip. But you just basically touch it, and it just makes the opening, and all the pressure releases. So he did great. Very cool video. It's fun making. So yes, back to what I was doing today. I have a lot of videos, and I record with iPhones, and they fill up, even a half I think it's half a terabyte, 520 or 530 gigs, something like that. And downloading those onto laptops and things, it takes up so much space, and it takes 4 or 5 hours for a half a terabyte. A giga is a terabyte, yeah, terabyte. So a half a terabyte. And so I've been downloading those all day. I've been trying to make space. I actually got the new iPhone 13 with a better camera. It's a little bit better than iPhone 12. I think it's going to be better at going in and out and moving around. A lot of people say, why is it so blurry sometimes? And when my hands are coming in and you're so close and kind of what they call macro or micro, you're right up in on the skin. You're not that far away. And you put something halfway in between it, then you take it away. Constantly, going in with my hands, it's tough for the camera person. And they can tap and they can hold, and you can hold scenes with it, but it's still, it's something that happens. I try to do like an extra second in between when I move my hands and then when I do a pop, so we're not too blurry, and I edit out most of the blurry stuff, but there's still some blurry that's there. So yeah, I wanted to cover that. The new phone has a terabyte of storage, which is great, but organizing these things, uploading them and onto my laptop here, it's days of work sometimes. But I've taken today, and I was committed. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it today. And then it's taken a long time. I'm not even halfway there. And I had to actually stop the backup to do this, because I'm also backing up my main computer, and my problems. I'm sure you guys really don't care about that. Let's get to the other stuff. So happy Sunday, everyone. And this is gonna, I know there's a lot of new people. Sometimes they're just, going by and they say, hey, he's going live. I want to see what it's about. So at the front of each one, I'm just going to say, we talk about the super chat for questions if you want. I also talk about paid subscriptions. This is a free video for everybody, and I'm still going to do one of these usually also a month for free, but there should be 2 most weeks for my paid subscribers, $2.99 a month. So, I'm doing a couple free so people can see what's a $2.99 gets them, plus the badges, custom badges and emojis, and their comments kind of getting bumped up sometimes when they have the badges there. So yeah, this is going to be a weekly thing, and it's going to be a dermatology kind of symposium. The PopTalks are, and then once I get I'm sure it'll be fixed this week with the software for the video within a video. We are definitely going to be doing those video dissections too, and I'm probably going to do a lot of those. So I can go back over all the great cases we've had over the last 2 years and just dissect them, talk about them, and answer questions live. So that's going to be fun too. That's what this was going to be today, but I know it's the second time I've had to postpone it, and I emailed them and let them know that. So yeah, that's what we've been doing, and that's what these are going to be. So back to what we're talking about. Let me get a drink of water. Telogen Effluvium. Once a month are the free ones. So that's the question there. Once a month, I'm going to do one of these for all of my subscribers. The paid subscribers are going to get 2 a week, but all of my subscribers are also going to get 2 procedure videos, usually a week. Is about 8 a month. So all my procedures are still going to be free. This is additional content that we just started in the last 2 to 3 weeks. So I know that's a common question too. That was a good question. I need to make that clear. So let's break it down. Telogen Effluvium. Man, these patients come in and they're not happy. They're usually younger women, 20 to 50, 55. and they are losing hair. Their ponytails are half as thick. Every time they get into the shower, there's hair everywhere. Every time they comb, they're losing a lot of hair, and they are not happy about it. And they're frustrated usually because by the time they get to a dermatology office, they haven't had a whole lot of positive input and people being able to give them answers. So let me see. Greg, I don't like it when you hold back because it might hurt a little. If I were the client, I'd say don't, as it hurts. That's why I'm here. Go for it. Space Monster Killer. Everybody's got a different pain tolerance, man. And you see from the first injection where they are and who they are. So yeah, every video is unique in that way. Some people I can really push on, others I can barely touch, and it's pretty wild. I wish I could be a paid subscriber. That's all once a month. Lisa Hernandez. Yeah, once one or two of these a month. I'm going to be doing 8 or 10 for the $2.99 people, but I want to do one so people can kind of see what this is. This is added content. This is not what I built the channel on. This is people who want to get to know me better. It's a lot of time I have to put in for it. So yeah, that's why I'm charging $2.99. But all the editing and everything else for the other videos still free. That's the good news. But in some of these will actually be for the paid subscribers, and I will release the ones that I've done. And then some will be brand new and live for all the subscribers of the channel, 233,000. So trying to cover everybody, have something for everybody. But Telogen Effluvium, they're not happy when they come in, and the girls are losing a lot of hair. And the first thing I say is, you've come from your primary care usually. They say, yeah. And I'm like, the reason you're here, there's a ton of reasons to lose hair. A ton, literally dozens. And the first thing first is they do blood work, thyroid issues. They can rule that out with blood work. If you have a thyroid issue, they'll give you a medication. It will usually level it out and the hair stops falling out. So thyroid issues are a big thing. Vitamin deficiencies usually have to be pretty severe to cause hair loss, but they can find those also in blood work. And anemias, like some women are anemic, very heavy periods, sometimes iron deficiencies, things like that. Those can also be found in the blood work and can be corrected. So by the time you're walking in a dermatology office, you usually don't have any of those, or if you did, they would have been corrected. So those are types of hair loss. We can throw those to the side. If you left the primary care office and they're like, I don't know, I'm going to send you to dermatology, those are usually negative. So then when you come in to us, it's a dermatological hair condition usually, or hair loss condition. And we've got quite a few on that as well. So when I start looking, first thing I do is do an exam. When I look at the scalp, usually within about the first 5 seconds, I know what it is, depending on just a visual. If you've got a bunch of peeling and irritation, skin building up, patches of baldness, all those things are different diagnoses. Psoriasis is common. Not as common as eczema or an eczematous, kind of dried out skin on the scalp. And the biggest, seborrheic dermatitis, which is overgrowth of yeast that we all have on our skin, but it overgrows on the scalp, and that's what causes dandruff. And Malassezia and Pityrosporum are the two yeasts that are most common there, and that we see. So those, you see that flaking, I can give you medications, we can reverse that. But this condition, they don't have any of that. There's no flaking. I can also rule out, hair products, like hair dyes is a big one. Hair product irritation or allergies, because that will be irritated, red, peeling. Sometimes there's scabs because they've been scratching. So just a simple visual of the scalp, I'll take cotton tip applicators that I use for extracting, turn them around, just use the sticks to go through the hair and get a good look at the scalp. So if there's no redness, irritation, anything like that, then we can rule that out. Now, some people will have autoimmune hair loss, and there's quite a few on that. Something called pseudopelade of Broke is one that looks like candle wax poured on the scalp, and it kind of just running through the hairs. It makes doll-like hairs, clumps of hairs. When you see that, right off the way, pseudopelade. So those are things visually that you can see. Lichen planopolaris is another one. It's lichen planus of the hair follicles. You'll have little red bumps at the base of the hair follicles. So these are all things that jump out right away when you're looking at them. So a simple exam, and you're like, nope, not that, not that. And I usually explain to people because they've been online, they may have seen some of those diagnoses, and I tell them why they don't have those, just from a visual. Lupus, if it's bad enough, there's quite a few autoimmune conditions where you can start to get that trichotillomania as well. People pulling their hair out, and bald spots, and they don't tell me a lot of times. And I'm like, oh, that looks like there's a little irritation there, but it's just in one area. And then the skin is kind of thick because they sometimes scratch or consistently pulling. That's another hair loss, but that's visually, you can usually see that too. Usually it's girls that just roll and they start losing in this area. They sit there and roll their hair. So that's a lot of different types of hair loss. And so when I look at that scalp, I say, yeah, your scalp looks great. It's nice and smooth. The skin looks the way it's supposed to, but I see spacing in between the hair follicles. So if they're got bald spots, completely bald, like the palm of your hand, that's alopecia areata. That's the immune system causing inflammation. That's a common thing. I see that every day too, but vastly different from telogen effluvium. So when you see those bald spots, that can be stress induced as well. And you just start losing hair. It can start small and get quite big. We can do injections for that. Kenalog, or usually an anti-inflammatory, because that is the immune system causing inflammation at the hair shaft and causing those hairs to fall out. So that was one you can see right off the bat too, because it's bald. So when we look at the scalp, and it's usually the frontal scalp to the apex all the way through here, and we see diffuse thinning. You can see it. You can see spaces that the hair shafts should be less than 1 millimeter apart. Sometimes they're over 2 millimeters distance in between each hair. The other thing that you'll see with telogen effluvium is little breakthrough hairs. And girls put all their hair back when they get out of the shower, and then boop, these little ones pop up because they're not being held down with the other long hairs. And you see it looks like just little fuzzies, almost 2 to 4 inch hairs poking through. That's new growth that's trying to regrow. So when I go in, I don't see any irritation on the scalp. I don't see any of those things I just mentioned. I see these little poke through hairs, and I see those spaces in between. I've already diagnosed it 5 seconds in. And that's when the question starts. And then I start asking questions to let them elicit to me why that hair loss is happening. So what we do, let me get another drink. We've rolled out all those things. Female pattern hair loss is still with no irritation on the scalp. Female pattern, just like male pattern hair loss, and that can be like hormone induced hair loss, usually postmenopausal women above 55, 65, but I have seen it in 35, 34-year-old women's about the earliest I've seen. And some of those were post-hysterectomy, saying they did have some hormone issues, but males can happen 18, 25. It starts early. You start losing hair here in the back. I knew it was coming. I just started shaving my head at like 22. I still had hair when I did, but I've tried to grow it out a couple of times. I don't have much on top anymore, but so that is a hereditary thing that can happen. The difference between, and I asked that, female pattern hair loss and telogen effluvium, because they can look similar in presentation, as the history. Female pattern hair loss will be a slow, gradual thinning of the hair, usually an older patient, 55 to 85. They're not seeing big clumps of hair when they wash their hair. So that's female pattern hair loss. Male pattern hair loss, same with male pattern hair loss, it goes slower. Telogen effluvium comes on relatively quick, and you'll just start seeing hairs and clumps. A lot of girls will bring in bags of hairs to show me, this is how much hair I've lost this week. That's not normal. You tell me what's wrong with me. And, we have a 15 to 20 minute conversation usually. And I tell them, what is telogen effluvium? Telogen effluvium is a hair growth phase disruption. So normally we have anagen hairs that are growth hairs, and telogen, which are the terminal hairs that are getting ready to fall out and be replaced by a new hair. That's usually 90%, 10%. So 90% of hairs are growing anagen phase, and telogen phase is 10% or less usually. And that's the norm. So you go like this, you'll get 1 out of 10 hairs. You should. But effluvium, speeding up of the telogen phase, telogen effluvium, it's speeding up of the death phase, the terminal phase, and they fall, getting ready to fall out, and they fall out easily. That is induced by many things. Stress is the number one thing. And in talking about this, I don't even let them talk yet. They tell me their history, but I'm like, I'm going to ask you some questions, but wait till I get to the end to answer them. And then I just start naming off things. Have you had a death in the family? Have you gone through a divorce? Have you lost your job? Did you get a new job and you have a stressful manager? Do you have a lot of stress at your job? Have you been pregnant or had a pregnancy? These are all things that stress. Have you been sick? A bad viral infection can absolutely bring it on if you didn't do well with it. Big surgeries. Also get a TikTok. Live TikTok makes tons of money. Interesting. That's good to know. I am going to start actually probably going through Facebook and TikTok and connecting these. Just not there yet. I gotta get all the equipment for that. But thank you. That's happy Valentine. That was nice. So yeah, I tell them, I ask those questions, any of those things. And then, I'll tell you, about half the time, these tears just start going down their face. I'm like, how did you know that? How did you even know to ask me that? Yes, I just lost my husband. Or yes, last year I just got a battle with cancer. Literally 999 times out of 1,000, I will get a yes on more than one of those questions. And that is, let's see, for sharing with us. Mrs. Lynch is on here. Let's see. Did I miss Mrs. Lynch? Let me go back up if she's watching. Yeah, she should be my moderator. She should start watching while I am talking, because I know I miss a lot of these. But I know she comes on here to see. She tries to answer some of the questions. I wonder, somebody said Mrs. Lynch, and thank you. So that makes me think she may be on here. I'm looking up the old comments. But anyway, see, this is why it's like squirrel. I just get off here. So she must be on there. So where I was at. Yeah. So they say, yeah, I have gone through that, and my hair started falling out. But here's the issue. It's delayed. So it's usually delayed 3 to 9 months after the inciting event. So women will have the baby, and then they got this big lush full hair because all the hormones to help grow that baby inside them. They get this thick hair, and then they have the baby, stressful event or a C-section. And then, within a couple months, the hair just starts falling out, and it starts falling out quickly. And that's telogen effluvium. Post-cancer, the stress from that. So, and medications too. Obviously, some of the cancer treatments can cause that, but that's a common thing. So you'll see this hair loss. You generally within 3 months to 6 months, but I have seen it go up to 9 to 10 months, and for it to start. People say, I lost my husband or, my boyfriend, but that was last year. Well, it's delayed 6, 9 months. Then the hair starts falling out. And the other question that's important, I'll have some people like, nope. They just say no. They're like, they want to, really make me work for my money. And they're like, no, I don't have that. No, nobody died. I'm not stressed. I none of those things. But the way people look at stress is important. And not everybody visualizes stress the same way or feels stress. There are people who live in stress daily. Their entire life is stress. Me having a job, 3 kids under 6, my wife working full time, 3 kids under 6. There's no break. Our life is stressful. Every day is coming home from a long day of work to making food and kids throwing stuff and crying. All of these things. It is living in stress. And there are people who you really have to kind of say, hey, so you have your own business, you have a company with the virus that just went through the world, and how stressful that is of keeping people, even keeping people, working for you. or possibly losing your job. They'll say, no, I'm not stressed. And I start asking them when they're going through all that. And the big thing is sleep. It usually affects your sleep. So they'll say, yeah, I'm not stressed at all. Yeah, I've always had a business. How much do you sleep? 4.5 hours. I do have trouble sleeping. But there you go. If you're not sleeping regularly and your body's immune system isn't able to repair from the day and a long day, that is super important. So that is something that, when you ask them, you really got to elicit it. You got to get deep in there because you want them to see the answer. Because if they don't, they're like, I don't believe you. No, they just walk out. Like, you have to really show them and break it down for them. So, those are some good things. Now, I have had women come in, and it's usually women. I have seen some men, but it's by far over 90% women get this. They spent $2,500 on a company that did a punch biopsy and showed them, if you do a punch biopsy, you'll see empty hair follicles more than should be in a certain area. But they'll say this is product building up, that you've had product building up in your hair. And it's over. You just need new products. You need our products. This is what we sell. And a lot of people get caught up in that and spend the most I've ever seen is $2,500, but hundreds of dollars. They'll do a sample or a scraping, and then they'll put it in the microscope and take a picture and give them the paper. Some woman showed me, look, it's right here. And I'm like, those are skin cells that are at the base of the hair follicle. They kind of peel off like this. It's supposed to look like that. There's nothing wrong there. And she's like, I spent so much money. And I said, did it help? Like, no, it didn't help. It didn't change a thing. I'm like, yeah, time is the only treatment for telogen effluvium. It's kind of like if I told you, I want to grow a whole beard by tomorrow and I want it to be 1 inch long. I could want it all day long. It's not going to happen. And anybody that told me they could sell me something that would do that would be wrong. So percentage, my hair falls out. This is AJ Baby. Can you tell me about white piedra? Presents as such, and my hair falls out when trying to remove. If true, is shaving my head is the only answer. When trying to remove, it presents as such, and my hair falls out when trying to remove. I'm not sure if I understand that question. When trying to remove the hairs, I'm trying to read that better. Let me see if that comes up here. I don't know if that's just coming up bad. I'm going to check my other device and see. Yeah. Oh, I see. PIE. Okay. Yes. So that's what we're talking about. If you have kind of flaking, and it will present the same, fungal organisms. So people will have overgrowth, and that's what we were talking about earlier with Pityrosporum. White piedra is just another form of that. And if you look that up, you'll see Trichosporum incen. It can happen in the pubic hair. So these are there's so many different types of that you can get exposed to. And you'll get hair loss kind of in patches, but you usually will see a fine flake of some sort or a little bit of pink. That's a good question. As far as like what we were talking about, seborrheic dermatitis and Pityrosporum ovale and Malassezia furfur are two others. Those are way more common. And I will tell you this, I see it with African-American patients, you will see it a lot more too, because African-American patients, if they wash their hair every day, it will dry out horribly and they have all kinds of issues. So they'll only wash once or twice a week. Because that's a whole nother, and the reason I know that is because I actually studied under a dermatologist who studied in Tulane, and he was an Indian man, but very intelligent. And he actually dealt with a lot of African-American skin and hair issues. And I can't tell you how many times he taught me very well. I can't tell you how many times I've walked in with great African-American patients I have, and they look at me like, how is this bald white guy going to tell me about my hair? And we have a good laugh. And it's just doing your research and knowing, but it is pretty funny. But that's a good question. I do see it a lot. I see that white piedra, just a presentation of sebderm and overgrowth of some yeast because of if they're not washing every day. the oil can build up a little bit more, and that's what the yeast likes, and that's why it overgrows. So I get them to spot treat with creams, and then they can wash 2 times a week if they can. We can usually keep it stable. But that's a common question that I see too. So thank you also for the donation. I appreciate it, AJ, baby. So yes, back to where we were at with the telogen effluvium and the hair loss. When I'm looking and talking about all those things and asking all those questions, it can go longer. The general is 1 to 2 years from onset to completely going back to normal. There's a very, very small percentage that it can be not permanent, but many years. I haven't even seen that in clinical practice in 12 years. Everybody will usually grow back. But I have had a couple women going through the worst divorces ever. I mean, they were so stressed out, and 5-year divorces, and they had the hair loss for 5 years. One was 4, one was 5 years, and then it settled. Everything was fine, and their hair grew back to the following year. So, can it go longer? Absolutely, it can. But as far as the norm, 1 to 2 years usually, and you will see those hairs starting to grow, but then they start falling out, and that happens. And they're just not catching up. I explained to them it's like a tide coming in and a tide going back out. When that tide comes in, it's slow and then it stops. You'll be losing hair, and then that will slow, and you don't seem to be losing much hair, but you're pretty thin. And then you start getting the regrowth and the regrowth and the regrowth, and that whole transition is 1 to 2 years. What can you do? A lot of people will take biotin. It's a vitamin that thickens the hair and the nails. It does not grow hair, but it gives a fuller appearance of the hair. And that's biotin. And they have hair and nail. There's a couple other vitamins in there, but biotin is one of the main ones. And Rogaine, minoxidil, used to be a prescription. Now it's over the counter. It's a foam. It grows vellus hairs, like smaller hairs in between your thicker hairs, to give a fuller appearance. I do have people do that as they're waiting for their hair to grow back. So that's another common thing. And, some people get some pretty decent filling in and they're happy with it. So, they're not happy when I say that's about all you can do. But I give them a printout, and so they can go and look it up and realize, okay, so it probably is going to get better. I do see the little hairs. I am getting some growth. And so it's just time, a tincture of time, as they say. That's what is going to help it. So basically, when I go through that whole transition, it's close to what it took now. It's 15 to 20 minutes, but I take the time because they're usually frustrated. And they sometimes have even gone to a dermatologist and just say, yeah, you're stressed out and, there's not much you can do. And they walk out. They want the answer, and they want some input of how long it's going to take to get back to where it is. So, that's telogen effluvium in a nutshell. I'm trying to think if I missed anything. That's kind of the breakdown that I give them. I go over the things it's not, because usually they've been on Google. And they're like, well, what about this? What about this? So I try to answer it. If I sit there and say, well, what else? I do a presentation like this and I answer their questions. I see them sitting there and they're like, oh yeah. Okay. So when I go through and answer their questions at the end, they're like, no, you pretty much said you answered the questions I was going to ask, and you gave me the diagnosis. So I'm happy. So that's what we do. I think I'm hearing little baby girl waking up early from her nap. Mrs. Pop said she's out with the boys. I think they went shopping when I was in my live stream. I put the baby down, but I think she might be waking up. But that's perfect timing. We're 30 minutes in. I did want to, I wanted to go up here and see if I make sure I didn't, some questions that were here. If we do have some questions, this would be a good time now. And I'm going to be popping in, I'm guaranteeing the Friday for most Fridays, there is, I do work a Friday next month. So if I have an obligation on Sunday, I'll let you know that. Friday at 12 is going to be one of these videos at 1 o'clock. Right after I'm done with that, I'm going to go live for all the subscribers. So somebody was asking earlier that I still will have just a live to answer questions. on Fridays at 1 o'clock for all my subscribers. But the smaller group of my super fans will be nice because they'll get their questions answered, because I think we've gotten the first week over 100, not bad at all. That's what I was kind of expecting, around that number. And people are coming in, and so they are, they're checking out what we have to offer, which is great. And I appreciate that. So at 1 o'clock will be for everybody, just to answer questions like this. And it'll be probably 15, 20 minutes. And then on Sunday at 2, it'll be another one for my paid subscribers. And probably once or twice a month, I'm going to squeeze other ones in there. Because if I'm not doing this for all the subscribers, at least some, they're not going to know what the $2.99 a month is. So absolutely. Wani R, thanks for learning about black hair and conditions. For sure. You want to be able to help everybody that comes in. And there are definite, African Americans have, sometimes they'll have weaves or some of there's a lot of hair conditions and special conditions that they have. So getting yourself well-versed in that's just going to make you another provider, a more well-rounded, better provider, I should say. So she must be sick again. Oh, yeah. People are talking about Anisla Brown. I have heard of her. People mention it in the comments. She's an esthetician that does a lot of pops. So if you have a couple questions, I got like maybe 2 more minutes here. And I appreciate we've had, 100, 150 people. This is great. Beth Loves, hello. Shout out times. Susan Plants, cut my hair so it didn't frizzle. Hello from Arizona, Kathy Moran. That's great. How can you pop assist? Well, depending on what it is, I would go to your local provider. Mrs. Popsit's here. Were you on here? Were you talking? I was. Oh, that's cool. So she was on there. Here she is. She's back. Hi. Hello. Very cool. So, I think the baby was crying right now, just like 5 minutes ago. And she shouldn't be. She should sleep another hour. Mrs. Popsit makes an appearance. Very cool. She's here now, so I don't have to go get the baby. Isn't that nice? I think I heard her cry, but sometimes she'll just wake up, roll over, say, Daddy, and then go right back to sleep. So that could be too. But great to see you guys. This has been cool. All the regulars are here. William Knoll. Hi, Mrs. Popsit. So she went and ran some errands with the boys, so it's not so crazy and things bouncing off the walls when I'm doing my live, which is nice. Sandy N, retired nurse. I have a lot of retired nurses. I think that's so cool. A lot I've seen in the comment section. The other thing I see is PA students and nurse practitioners as well. A lot practicing ones in urgent cares, things like that. And they're really looking at what to do as far as, for different cysts or abscesses. And, I have a ton of videos still in editing, as you guys know. I'm trying to get so 8 a month for free, which is very cool. And Pam Powers, cool. Your first live. I'm glad you can make it. I try to do one on Friday because I have that day off. I was doing one a month, but I'm stopping that actually next month. And and then on Sundays for the people who work, obviously on Fridays and can't do it. But sometimes in Europe, it'll be Friday night if I'm doing it at 2. So trying to get everybody involved. That's all we're doing. How do I become a paid fan? Good question. I should mention at the front and end of all these videos, just the join button. But if you're on Apple, you have to have Google Chrome as the search engine. Even on your on laptops or on your phone. I have a video under the community tab. I'm probably going to be reposting that a couple times a month so people can see, so they can be a part of this. So the people that are watching it right now, as I go off of live, but they can still watch it. The missus is gorgeous. Wani R. I agree. She is not only is she gorgeous, she is the smartest person I've ever met. She is a quick one. She's an attorney, and she is actually a managing partner. She runs the office, and she's in a huge company with over 1,200 lawyers, but they have offices all over. But she's an impressive one. And as we do lives and stuff, you'll get to know her better, I'm sure. So very cool. I hope people got to see the live. These are new lives I'm doing. PopTalk about derm diagnoses and video dissections where we go back, and that hopefully will be coming back this week. So thanks for the support, guys. If the football's still on, go enjoy it. Really appreciate it. This is cool. It goes so quick. I can't believe I've been talking for 40 minutes. Oh, I talk too much, as I've been told. So one last question, Jules Wick, aesthetic student over here. I've been a professional makeup artist forever. Decided to go back to school and makeup career switch. Love your channel and all the education. Very cool. I do have a lot of estheticians actually on here as well, which I think is so cool. And one thing I want to say about that, that reminded me of something I wanted to say. And I did say it on one of the on one of my videos. And that was Jules Wick that said that. Extractions. A lot of dermatologists don't do extractions. It's not like a waste of their time, but we have estheticians too. And I don't do, I will do the more severe cases usually because I really want to get hands on and get those out. And we've got great estheticians that, hot towels and open up the pores. They do the whole thing. And I get in there, open up the pore and extract them out. When I was a student, I actually was trained by a PA, good friend of mine, that did a lot of extractions. Thank goodness, and he really taught me a lot of different ways to extract, what to use. And with him, I saw the befores and the afters. So I really saw the benefit of doing extractions. And estheticians doing great. It's funny, some of the dermatologists that I've seen or worked with, because they don't do them that often, they have one way and they only usually do one way. Different parts of the face, there are different things you can use that work a little better. The soft, spongy parts of the face or the bony prominences. There's different tools that we use. I talk about that already, but yeah, that's I like doing extractions because they get clear so much quicker. When I have a 14 or 15-year-old and the parent really wants them to get better, I know they're going to get there quicker if I'm hands-on doing 3 or 4 extractions in the first 2 months and then putting them on medications. We'll just get there quicker. And, it doesn't take that long. It's 15 or 20 minutes. We can knock out 50 to 100 usually. I do it every week or two just for a couple. And then it's like setting them sail with wind at their back. It's a good thing. So it's Sunday. I promised the boys I'm going to take them fishing right now. It's sunny and like 70 out here in mid-January. Then take the boys out fishing. So extractions are a game changer. Jules Wick, that's absolutely true. They'll get improved with the retinoid, but you put the extractions in there and then that retinoid starts reducing oil production. It's a win-win. So you guys have a great Sunday. Thanks so much. This was another live that's going to be part of my paid subscriptions, but free for all today. Hope you guys have a good one. Thanks for popping by.